Making his choice, President Trump nominating Judge Brett Kavanaugh last night as the next Supreme Court justice. The commander-in-chief citing Kavanaugh's distinguished record and links to outgoing Justice Anthony Kennedy as reasons for his decision.
Judge Kavanaugh has impeccable credentials, unsurpassed qualifications, and a proven commitment to equal justice under the law. Throughout legal circles, he is considered a judge's judge, a true thought leader among his peers. He is a brilliant jurist with a clear and effective writing style, universally regarded as one of the finest and sharpest legal minds of our time. And just like Justice Gorsuch, he excelled as a clerk for Justice Kennedy.
Justice Kavanaugh, meanwhile, Judge Kavanaugh, already facing staunch opposition from the left, protests getting underway even before the announcement last night. And then the Women's March issued a pre-written press release. Look at this. Failing to even mention the nominee by name and then actually spelling Judge Kavanaugh's name wrong later in the statement. As you can see, they write, President Trump's pick of XXXS is horrible. They didn't even know who it was when it was written. Joining me now is Mark Penn, a former Clinton advisor, Stagwell Group president, and the author of the book, Microtrends Squared. Mark, great to see you this morning.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us. Your reaction to the announcement and also what transpired, this head-on-fire reaction from the Democrats.
Well, President Trump surprised us last night by not surprising us. He picked someone on the list that was favored by the conservative establishment that everyone said he was going to pick, and he picked him. And so it was not out of the box in that sense. He had the podium of the presidency, of, the White House, and outside were protesters who frankly looked, doing a pre-buttal protest before there was a nomination. They looked out of sorts. They didn't really give the kind of finest view of a confirmation process that we'd like to see in the country.
Is this just a show, Mark? Is this just a show on the part of the left, the Democrats, to just resist anything that this president does? Or do you think that there are real issues here?
Well, no, I think there are real issues. I think, remember that 62% or so would not overturn Roe versus Wade. This is a real issue that I think people are going to hear from the nominee, whether or not he thinks stare decisis is more important. But behind the real issues is a show. There are people on the Democratic side running for president who want to fire up the base. We've got midterms coming. So it's part show, but there are a lot of real issues here, too.
He said last night, I'm going to be incredibly independent. And even when I interviewed President Trump last week, in my interview, he said, I'm not going to ask the nominee his thoughts on Roe v. Wade. Does anybody really think Roe v. Wade is going to be overturned?
Well, does anyone think? People are worried whether that's going to be overturned. I think the Democrats are saying it's in jeopardy. I think that this is going to be a key point in the hearings. I think Democratic senators are going to ask him point blank and say, hey, forget the Ginsburg rule. Tell us whether or not you're going to overturn this. And I think he's going to be put more on the hot seat than Neil Gorsuch was.
Red State Democrat Senator Joe Manchin says that health care is a factor in how he will vote for this nominee. Senate Majority Leader Senator Schumer also mentioned health care as a rallying cry to oppose the nomination. Is that a successful strategy to put health care in there and create sort of a pushback there?
Well, I don't think there's a big issue that I've seen on health care. I think health care is the #1 issue in the country. So when you look at politics, but look, if you look at Democrats in states like West Virginia and Indiana, they have to get around the strong conservative Catholic vote that has shifted over to Trump and the Republicans in the last few years, and opposing this clearly Catholic nominee. He brought up his faith last night very clearly, puts them in a bind. They want to get out of talking about those issues.
Then there's the future of the House Democrats. Politico out with an article last night titled, Tim Ryan weighs new challenge to Pelosi amid Democratic unrest. Do you see Congressman Ryan or anybody else, for that matter, unseating Pelosi as House Majority Leader?
Well, I think first, if she...
Minority Leader. She wants to be the House Majority
If she fails to become Majority Leader, I think there's no question that I think the Democrats will make a change. After 15 years of the same leadership by her and Steny Hoyer through defeats and victories, which is really surprising. So I think you'll see that. But the Problem Solvers Caucus in the middle, if this is a close election, is ready to exercise some power. Remember, the Constitution requires half of the Congress to vote for the Speaker. They may, regardless of who wins, ask for rule changes that return more power to members.
See, this is a major issue going into the 2020 election, in my view. I actually spent some time with some leading Democrats over the weekend, and they felt alienated by the party. They feel that it has been hijacked by the left, and at the end of the day, they, in my opinion, they will either in the 2020 election vote for Trump reluctantly, or they will not come out. So what do you think about the Democratic Party? Has it been hijacked by the Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren, Barack Obamas of the world?
Well, certainly they've been hijacked in terms of media coverage. Out there are rank-and-file Democrats, a lot of moderates. Remember, what's happened in this country is that the extremes on both sides have grabbed party power, and the moderate voices that would solve problems like immigration and health care in a heartbeat have been drowned out. The question is, how can they reassert themselves, either in the midterms or in the upcoming presidential election?
We'll see. It doesn't look like they are reasserting themselves, because Tom Perez is talking about Ocasio-Cortez being the new face of the Democrats, a 28-year-old who unseated Crowley. Let me switch gears. I got to get your take. You've written so much about what's gone on with the FBI and the Department of Justice in your op-eds. Fox News reporting former FBI lawyer Lisa Page has been subpoenaed by House Republicans to appear before the House Judiciary and Oversight Committees tomorrow, a day ahead of the embattled FBI agent Peter Strzok, her boyfriend. He's testifying before the House in a public hearing on Thursday. So Bob Goodlatte, as well as John Ratcliffe, have told me they want to hear from both of these two individuals. What's your reaction?
Well, it's about time. Of course, whatever they say in their testimony, they've already testified through 50,000 text messages.
That's right.
We know what they think. Their job in their testimony is to say, oh, it didn't affect my job. But I think this new evidence in these memos, get the F going. Wow, this is even more powerful ammunition here that the origins of this investigation were biased from the beginning and didn't have a substantial or firm footing in intelligence. This has been blown open pretty widely, I think, by this evidence and these two folks who really revealed so much in their text.
Do you think we're going to see accountability? I mean, could these people, go to jail?
Could they go to jail? You know, I don't know yet that we're going to see. We know that the Attorney General has someone in Utah looking at this, but where's he been? What's going on? There's no news report of any serious action.
Good point.
I think the person most at jeopardy is Comey. I think as FBI director, the actions he took were, he didn't have authority to take those actions. He appeared to lie about them. He went on this book tour. I think he is number one in terms of legal jeopardy, and we're going to come back to him, I suspect, after the next report comes out.
But we know that Andrew McCabe, there were recommended criminal charges against him, and Peter Strzok, he took over the Trump collusion investigation on July 31. 8 days later, he sends a text to Lisa Page saying, we will stop Donald Trump from becoming president. So how could you make a case that it didn't affect his work, his bias didn't affect his work?
Obviously, those texts speak for themselves.
Exactly.
This whole investigation has, in my view, for a long time been the fruits of a poisonous tree that started here with a hysteria that created in the FBI and the CIA to stop President Trump. We just can't have our CIA and FBI operating as a political branch trying to stop people from getting elected. That is not appropriate for the United States of America.
I could not agree more, and that's why this story outrages me as well. Mark, great to see you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Mark Penn joining us there.